Hey guys, welcome back to SFDC Panther. This is Amit, and today we are going to create a search functionality with the help of web components. In search functionality, what we will do, we will create a input field where user can input the name of account or contact, and then based on that input, we will show the list of all accounts and contacts. And we'll also see how we can pass the parameters with the help of wire decoration. And then after that, we will see how we can pass the parameters with the help of imperative method. We will be creating a button for this purpose, and the error handling we'll see in case of both methods. And then we'll also see how we can call another component inside a parent component. So we will see the parent child component here with the help of web components. So let's go ahead and start with this. So this is the project that we are going through with. So I'm going to create a new web component. I will name it as contact list, or we can also name it as account list. And then for this purpose we'll also be needing an apex class where we will be creating two methods, one for calling with the help of imperative method that we'll be calling from a lightning button, and then the other one that will be calling from a wire decorator. So I will name it as contact list demo, and then after hitting enter it will create the component here. So after creating the component, the first step is always to work with the metadata file, where you need to define all the configurations that you wanted to. Let's say that you want where you wanted to use your component, and what are all those record what are all the targets that you wanted to. So here we'll start with the metadata. So let me type it as true, and then as we saw for the master label. So here on the master label, what it will do, it will display whatever I'm putting here in the master label instead of the name of the component here. Let's say that the name of the component is contact list demo, and in the master label I'm putting it as contact list. So what it will do when I'm editing any record page or app page, it will display contact list instead of contact list demo. So I'm going to define some targets here. So for the targets I'm going to use only app page because we are using an application where we are testing all the things. And then here, as you all know, that for this we need to use lightning underscore underscore. One more thing that you need to notice is that what if you wanted to use your component inside community. So what you need to do is you need to use target, and it will be lightning community instead of lightning. So lightning community underscore underscore default. When you use default, that means it will be available while you are configuring in the lightning builder, lightning community builder. And next step is to create the apex class and then add the methods here. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to create an apex class here. I will name it as contact list controller. Or I can also name it as contact aura service. So after we will successfully creation of the apex class, we are going to add this. So what is the location of the apex class where we wanted to store this? So we need to select classes folder inside the default folder. If you don't have, you can just go ahead and create the folder inside the default folder. So I'm going to select this, and after this it will start creating the apex class. And after creating the apex class, it will also start some git commands for committing and all that. So this is I have configured the git, so you don't need to worry about this if you isn't started on your system. For this you need to configure that. I will tell you on the later videos. So let's go ahead and add two methods. I'll say that aura enabled, and it will return list of S object. Let's say that it will be get contact list, and then create another aura enabled method that will return the same thing, list of S object, and we will name it as get account list. So why we are creating two methods? I'm creating two methods, one for using with the help of wire decorator and other for using with the help of imperative way. So here, as you know that we are going to implement the search functionality. So in this search functionality, I'll create a key. Why we are creating this? Because if you know that for searching some contacts or for searching any things, we use like parameters. So for like parameters, this is why I'm dynamically creating that key here, and then I will be using in my query. So let's define the query as well. So here in this query, I'm going to select ID, name, email, phone from contact, where name like this key, whatever the key variable is here, and then we will be returning return database dot query. And same thing here we will do for account, but it will the query will be different because the object we are querying here is account, so it will be select ID, name, industry from account, where name like this key, whatever the key is here, and then we'll be returning the same. So here you can see that we have created these two things, and then after these two things we need to call the method of this class. First we will be displaying the list of contacts. So let's go to the JavaScript file of our component. So here, as you know that for calling the method, what we need to do is we just need to import the method of whatever the method name is here, and then so how we import this, we always import this, you know that Salesforce / apex, and then the name of the controller, and then name of the method. So here we are going to use this contact list, and then what we are going to use is here are wire decorators, and then inside wire decorator you know that how to call the method, and then we need to put the variable here contacts. So what is this contacts, this contact will do whenever we are using wire or imperative method, it will always return contacts which will contains we can say that whatever the variable here, it will contains two things. One will be data and the other will be error. So once we will be using this variable in our apex class, in our web components, we need to check for context or data, context for context or error. So here this will be the key while we are directly using this contacts in our component. So let's go use this component inside our HTML templates. So I'm going to use this card here. I will name it as contact list, and for icon name I'm going to name it as standard colon contact, so that here in this contact, okay, and inside lightning I'll be using lightning layout. Vertical align I will use same as I'm using in my previous tutorials, and then inside that we are going to use template. It will be for each contacts.data, and then we will be using for item. So this is what I was telling you, that this variable will contains both data and errors, and you need to use data for displaying the data contacts, and then if there is any error, you can go ahead and use that error as well, say that context.error. So here I am going to use that we already discussed this. So here inside this p parameter I'm going to use contacts contact.name, and then I'm going to use lightning formatted email. I'll use value as contact.email, and then for phone I'm going to use as formatted phone. You can see we are successfully able to save. So now let's go back to the controllers here. So in the controller you can see that as of now we are not passing any kind of variable, and we are also not creating any input in our HTML and creation. So that this is what we are just doing for the. Now let's go ahead and create one input as well here. So I'm going to use lightning layout item. Inside this I'm going to use padding as around small, and same I will do for this layout item as well. Oops, this is not, this is, and here inside this I will use lightning input. I will name it as label at find contact. For value I will give a parameter that, and I'm going to create a parameter here in this. I will track and this search key. So by default there is no value on the search key, and I'm just, and on the on change and on the on change of this event, on the unchange of this input, I'm just going to call the method that is handle change, and inside handle change I will just put a simple debug to see that if this on change method is able to call the controller method or not. So here for debugging we cannot put simple console.log. For that we need to put a command line that is ESLint disable no console, and then after you can. So for, okay, one more thing that here you need to use event dot target, whatever the target is, and then what is the value for that. Okay, is okay. Now let's push this code to the source org and see if you are able to do the console things, and you are able to see the output of all the contacts that are available here or not. This code is successfully pushed. So let's go to the org here. After refreshing the page, we will be editing the application, and then we will add that component over here in this blank space. So let's go ahead. In the meantime, I'm going to tell you one more thing about this. Uh, how you can use these variables. Let's say that this variable is contacts, and you wanted to console this variable here. You will get the error even if you are putting this comment over the console log. Why you are getting the here? So to refer any kind of variable, you need to, oops, let me put this variable here inside this method as well. So you will get the error on the variable. So to refer any variable inside the complete JavaScript class, you need to use this keyword. Without this keyword, you cannot use this the variable, whatever the variable you have created with the decorations and all. So this is what that you need to keep in mind while you are referencing any kind of variables, and that might be track, API, or wire variable. So here you are able to, as we have provided the master label at contact list, we need to find the contact list, drag that component over here, and save this. After saving, we will see if we are successfully able to see the contact details or not here. We are not finding, we are not able to display the contact list. Just take this, go to console. Yeah, we are able to call the method, but we are not able to find the contact list. Why we are not able to find the contact list? Let's go to the make the method as cacheable true, and then post the same code. Put the app class. In the meantime, we can also check if there is any error here. So as we also saw in our previous tutorial that we need to here, we can just type any method which will contain two parameters. One will be error and other is data, and then we can check if data, then we can use this dot contacts as a data. So for this we need to use a variable, and then for the error we can also use a variable here to track the error, and then we need to use if error, then we need to use this dot error is error. So as we are using data and error here with the help of wire decorators, and that we are creating a method as per our choice, then after if we are using this kind of way to call the methods, what we need to do is we need to make the change, make sure that we are not using data here anymore. Why? Because now we are using this, we are directly getting the data here from the backend from the JavaScript class. So as we haven't pushed the updated code for the data and error, we just need to go through here and check if you are now able to see the list of all the contacts. Okay, we are not able to see the list of all contacts. This might be the reason that we are putting some filter here for the name. So let's go ahead for the meanwhile I'm just putting this here, and then in the error we are also going to console the error here, so that if there is any error we can also see that we are able to get the error. As we are getting the error here on the console, we need to put the debug statement here. Let's go ahead, refresh the page, and now we see what we are able to get the output here. Okay, now we are able to see the contacts here, you can see. Okay, as we are able to see, the layout is very congested, so I'm just going to come here, and for the input I'm going to create and the layout here. Cool. Now as we need to pass the variable as well here for the name, so we just need to go ahead and here inside this, now let's add this variable. How we can pass the variable? So here in the javascript in the apex class, we are passing a variable as name here. So let's go ahead here and pass the variable. We always need to pass the variable with the help of $sign here. So every time we are using fire decorators for calling the method, and that method is parameterized method, so we need to pass the variable, whatever the variable here we are storing the value, we need to pass the variable with the $sign, and that will be passed in a form of array, in a form of object with the help of curly braces. And in the handle event change, what we need to do is we just need to this dot search key equal to whatever the value we are getting in a search text. So now let's see if we are able to see any output, and we are able to call the method as well. Okay, cool, we are successfully able to push the code. Now let's refresh the same and see if we are able to find anything here, if you are able to get any errors, or we are successfully able to fetch the contacts. So for the being while, I'm going to develop console, or let me open the contact tab here to see what kind of uh, contacts are here, how many contacts we have available, so that based on those we can put the name over there. So we have only two, that one is Sammy Taylor and another one is Jonathan Bradley. So I'm going to type AM here, and you can see we are successfully able to call them here, that Amy Taylor that is here, and for the A we are successfully able to see two contacts. One is Amy Taylor and another one is Jonathan Bradley. Why we are able to get two? Because here we are using like parameters in our Apex class, and like parameters search, and we are using %sign before and after the keyword, whatever the keyword user is entering in this input. So it is finding A, whatever the a, if a is contains and the name field of the contact object, and then it is returning those here. So you can see that we are successfully able to, if I remove this, we are still able to see the contact list because we have contact list already assigned. So this is how you can call the method with the help of, or call the parameterized method with the help of wired. And now I'm going to show you how we can call the parameterized method with the help of at imperative method. So for this, in the HTML, we are going to create one more lightning card, and we will name it as account list. So it's account card, and I will save it as account, and here I will say that account list. And then inside that, I'm going to use one layout. This is for the input, and we will be using the same method for both imperative and wire decorator. The same method which is responsible for assigning the value in the search keyword, search key, whatever the variable here it is. So, and for calling on the method from the button, we are going to create another method, and that I will put in inside another layout here. And instead of lightning input, I will create a button here. I will say that lightning button. I'll label it as find accounts. I'll say that find accounts. Yep. And then variant will be brand, and on click I will call find accounts. So let's go ahead and create the method, as we already did this how to call the imperative method. So we just need to do here, we will import the method, what method we wanted to call here. So I'm just going to okay, just copy the name from here, get account list. It's from okay, we got it. Now we just need to call this method here, and that will be get account list. And we also saw we need to use then, and then it will contains the result with the help of a method. And then we also have a catch for calling for handling all the error here. So inside this, the same thing, we need to pass the parameter as a object, and then the name of the parameters. And here we can just pass this dot search key. Here in this imperative method, we don't need to put the variable name inside single quotes or double quote with the help of dollar sign. We just need to pass the whatever the variable we have. And so here we are just using that this dot search key, as I told you that for referencing the variable we need to use this keyword. So this is why we are using this dot search key. And then if okay, for the contacts and for the accounts, I'm going to use accounts here. And then for the error, I'm going to use here error account. So here in this result, I'm going to store this dot accounts equal to result. And then for the error here, error. So here you can see that we are calling the method, and then inside I can also show you the debug here for the result, if you are able to get any result or not. So let's put some console here. Okay, now let's push the code to source code, and we'll see how this is working. Okay, let's go ahead and see. This is the page. We should be able to see one more input field here, and saying that one more lightning card here saying that contact sorry, account list. Yep, now we are able to see one more here. So what we are going to do, just open the debug console log here so that we can see. And for the accounts we are already seeing here, I'm just typing AL here and then find accounts. I'm not sure if you are able to call the method or not. Okay, let's go ahead here. It's find accounts. We are calling find accounts here as well, and then inside here we are not debugging error here as well. So let's go ahead and debug the error if we are able to get any kind of error here in this. And go to the class, its name, and select ID, name, industry from account. Okay, it's same. Now we need to post the code. Go to the org here, refresh the code and see if you are able to get any kind of error. If we are getting error, then we will resolve that error and we'll see in the output the code is working. I'll just type AL here. You can see AL we are getting on both places. And then here find accounts, neither we are getting any. Okay, let's do one thing here. For the method, we are going to create one more method that will say that handle change account. That's it. And here in this input we will say handle change account. And now let's see. And there might be a reason that once we are changing the value in that field, that might be responsible for calling the method of getting contact list at the same time we are calling the method, that is. So let's go ahead and refresh the same. Now I'll type it and the same time here. If I'm time okay, I'm getting value here am. If I'm typing, clicking on find accounts, I'm not able to call the method. What I will do is I'll go ahead, create one more parameter for search key. I'll say that search key account, because we are using the same parameter for both input. And here in this search key account, and then we'll pass search key account in the parameter get account list. And then we'll also use in the HTML, it will be search key account instead of search key. And now again we will push the code to the source org. and then we'll see if it is working or not. And then we will display account dot industry as well, and then we will display account phone. And then now push the source code this, and we'll see what happens. In the meantime, let's create one more component. Okay, we cannot create because the other one is already here. So next step is to see how we can call the other component inside another component. So we can say that the concept of parent-child components. So we can also see in the same thing we will create, as you can see here, the name is contact list demo. We will create one more component that we will say, we will name it as account tile, and inside that account tile we will create some parameters, and we'll just print some output messages here, and then we'll see how we are able to call the component inside another component, and we'll also see how we can pass the parameters from one component to another component, and what are the requirement to pass the parameters, in which kind of parameters we can pass the value, and what kind of parameters we cannot pass the values. So it has been successfully pushed. Now we will go back to the page and we'll refresh, and we will see. Okay, I'll type alpha, find accounts, and you can see that we are able to see alpha dynamics. In if I remove this A and I'll try find accounts, and you can see that we are able to see some more accounts, alpha dynamics, medicine investments, and all that. There are 4 accounts. And the same thing, if I type MEAM here, I'm able to see the contact as well. So this is how we can call the best class method, the parameterized best class method, with the help of wire and imperative way. And now we will see how we can call the another component inside one component. So for that, let's go ahead and create a component, and that what we will do is we will create a lightning web component, and we will name it as account tile. And while creating the component, I also told you earlier in tutorial, that is the name should be followed the best practice of lower camel case. So if you don't follow the best practice, you might get compilation errors while you are calling the component inside another component, because JavaScript is a case sensitive language, so you need to be careful while naming convention of your web components. So here this is just we don't need to work with the XML file, because we are not going to use this particular component inside our lightning app builder. So here I'm just going to use HTML file, and inside HTML file I'll use lightning card, and I'll name it as title. It will be, you can say that, account info, and icon name will be standard account. And we can say that lightning layout, and inside this I'll just put one heading, that I'll say that I am in account tile component. And to use the component, inside another component. Let's say that we are using that component inside here. In this, we can just go ahead and create one more lightning layout. We can say that lightning layout item. We will say that padding. Okay, we don't need to use inside for loop. I'm not going to use this. Inside for outside for I will create that, because if I use inside for, it will create for all the records that we are getting. So here to call that, it will be C hyphen, and then if you hit control space, you will get the list of all the components that you wanted to use. So here you can see that this is our component, that name is account tile, and whenever you are using any component inside another component, it will break all the words with the help of hyphens. So if you can see, C is the namespace here, and then account tile was the component name. So account is other word. First we can say that one word, and then tile is one other word. So it is breaking account tile with the help of hyphen. So while we are using this, we are calling one component inside another component. It will always break those component with the help of hyphens. Each and every word, it will break every word with the help of hyphens. Let's say that if we are using contact list demo, we are calling this list and this component inside another component. It will break contact hyphen list hyphen demo, because we have three words in this component. So you can see that we have successfully pushed the source code. Now let's, sorry, we already pushed that, we don't need to. And now we will go ahead and we will just refresh the page. We will be able to see the simple information that we added in the component. So yes, you can see here account info. We are not able to see in the icon, and there might be some typo mistake. So let's go ahead, and in the account tile you can see. Okay, I'll just copy this icon name here. Okay, so now we also see how we can pass the parameters from one component to another component, that we can say that from parent component to the child component. So to pass the parameters, that we already covered that API, if we use any variable with the help of API decorators, that are the public variables that can be exposed. So we are going to create one parameter here, that is we are saying that account, and then here instead of title account info, I'm just going to use here account name, account dot name here, and inside this particular h1 tag I'm going to use paragraph, and then here I will use lightning formatted text for displaying the name, and then inside another paragraph I'll use lightning formatted phone to display the phone of account. So you can see account dot phone. So as we have created one parameter here in this our child component, that is name of account, and then here from the parent component, if we came here parent component, you can see that here we are calling this layout item. So what we are going to do is we are going to comment this layout item, and we'll call that component here. We can see that C account tile and then the name of parameter is account, so we will name it as account equal to whatever the account parameter is. That's it. And then we just going to comment this as we are using for each, we need to provide key here, so we are going to use key as well. And now let's go ahead and comment this particular part as well, because in this part we are calling the child component. So here what we are doing, we are inside for each, we are just calling our method, we are calling our child component, and then passing the value, passing the account information to this variable, that API variable that we created here, and then with the help of that variable we are just displaying the information over here. So now let's go ahead and post the code, and after posting the code we will see if we are successfully able to see the information that we are displaying here in this lightning card. So we are pushing the code to the source auth, so let's wait. Okay, it's successfully pushed. Now let's go ahead here, refresh the page. We'll refresh and we'll see what the outcome we are able to see here. So here let's try alpha. I can just say al a, and you can see we are successfully able to see all the account records with the help of whatever the name of the account is there, alpha dynamics, medicine investment, all that. If I type al and find accounts, I'm only able to see alpha dynamics over here. So you can see this is you can see how this is working with the help of child component, and how we can pass the parameters to the child component as well. So this was all about for the 2 days session, and we will come on the next session. Thank you guys for watching and taking the time out to watch the video. If you have any questions, please come up with the comment section, or you can email me at my email ID, that is sfdcpanther@gmail.com, or you can also tweet me at my Twitter handle, that is Cloudy Amit. And there is always a way you can comment the things inside the under the video, and please do subscribe, like and share. And one more thing that I'd like to highlight is that you can find the code, all the updated code, if you wanted to, in my GitHub repo. If you will go to github.com/amitstrit, and if you'll go to the repository section, you will see there is one repository that is called as LWC recipes, and in this LWC recipes you will get all the code that we are building here, the complete project here that I'm building here with, and explaining you, demonstrating you all the applications, all the web components tutorial. Thank you guys. See you on the next video.